Good morning. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. You are on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. My name is Vickie Helm. This is the Coffee Break Show, and it's brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. And I am so glad you're here today. Today, we are going to have a powerful conversation about how you can begin to build more success, like right now in your life. How can you start right now? And this is going to be the topic of conversation that we're going to elevate your opportunities with today. So thank you for joining us, whether you are on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, if you're on iHeartRadio, Pandora. Everybody, welcome. We go live Monday through Friday. We share tips, tools, techniques, information, inspiration, and motivation. Those things are going to help you create thrivability in your life, in your world. And thrivability is something that's so important moving forward as we go into this new world that is being built. I just want to say thank you and welcome to everybody that's on. Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is how you can build more success right now. Even if you're like, what is that success? What does it look like? It's a terrific time and timely Tuesday. Thank you. We're going to start rocking and rolling right now. So I want to give you something that I think is very important for the future. It's the most powerful part of you. It's the most deepest powerful part of you that you get to choose. And that is your point of view. Where your point of view is pointed is what's going to materialize in your life. Full stop, right? So that's the most important point of view. So everyone knows that what we focus on grows because we talk a lot about that right here. But what about your point of view? Is your point of view optimistic? Is it positive? Is it pessimistic? So I made myself some notes because this was such an important topic for me that I wanted to make sure everybody was there. When you're optimistic, it's different from being positive. Positive, you have a happy attitude, you're grateful, you have your life. Being optimistic is a type of confidence about the future. When you're optimistic, you have this part of you that is not just hopeful, but is confident in making the future brighter, better, and greater for yourself. Being optimistic is a powerful part of being successful in your life, full stop. Being positive is that way. Being pessimistic, we talk about how our thoughts can only do two things, and that's it. They can either impair you or empower you. So pessimism impairs what you do or have in your life. And optimism, it's different than being positive. Being optimistic is an action word. You're confident about your future because you're working it, you're doing it, you're seeing it, you're growing it. An optimist doesn't get up to bat and say, well, I'm an optimist, so I'm going to hit a home run every single time I get up to bat. That's not what optimism is. Optimism is when you get up to bat, that you understand how you bat, you've been to batting practice, and you know that you can hit a single or a double, but eventually you're going to get around the bases. Eventually, no matter how no matter how long it takes, no matter what you're going to do, you're going to keep practicing so that you can hit the ball again and again and get around the bases. A pessimist doesn't even think we should play baseball. And so a positive person can like baseball. I love it. I love to watch it, but it doesn't mean they're going to partake in it. And there's a vast difference between your success in the world and how you think. And everybody's like, well, I think positive. Great. That is wonderful. That's the first step into being an optimist. An optimist is somebody who is an unstoppable doer. It's somebody who will pivot, who will be mindful and pay attention to the moment and move and maneuver themselves through what they want to maneuver themselves through. So a pessimist is somebody who looks at the worst aspects of things and believes the worst thing is going to happen. They feel powerless. They feel powerless to change something. They may talk about it. They may even feel righteous and truthful inside there and be like, no, this is going to happen. Yes, if you say that's what's going to happen, you become whatever you say you become. You say to yourself things and put them through your filters over and over again. And you can see whether you're a pessimist or an optimist based on the life you have. If you're living a life that is successful, not by appearances outside in the world, because there's people who have a boatload of stuff and a boatload of money, and they're not happy. They do not feel optimistic about their future. They feel very unhappy and they're depressed as well. Optimism is a state inside where your point of view says, I'm going to figure this out. I see what it is. I'm going to figure this out. And I want to tell you a story that I think was one of the most empowering stories I've ever heard. And it comes from my spouse. And Robin and I were at a convention. And in this convention, it was a Harbecker convention a few years ago. And they asked a group of people, you all got in these circles. There were circles of 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, 10 people, 10 people. And you were supposed to pick only 2 people in that group who could survive a sinking ship and be in a boat together. They were in a boat together. And you had to plead your case as to why you should be the one that lived and the other person should be the one who died. And I got to the point where I was like, yeah, I don't need your permission. I'm going to live because I say I'm going to live. And my spouse was in a different group and they picked her to live. And I turned around and I was like, well, how the hell did that happen? What did you say? And of course I had to ask her, what did you pitch? What did you say? And she said, I didn't know what I could do, but I knew what I felt. And that's the optimism. And she leaned in and she said, listen, I don't have the answer for you, but I can promise you this. If you pick me, I will get everybody home. I will get everybody here home. I don't know what I'll do. We'll figure it out. We'll work together, but we will get everybody home. If you pick me, I promise you, you're going to get in that boat. We're going to figure it out and we're all going to get home to safely. That's optimistic thinking. That's somebody who thought so outside of the box. And I never forgot that. I was so proud of the way she thought. I took that on because I thought if I take those thoughts on, you become an unstoppable doer and an unstoppable thinker and an unstoppable problem solver. And that's what is going to create your future. So if you want to have more success, maybe you're going to try to be somebody nobody thought you could ever be because you're taking on a different perspective than you had when you started this gig. So I think it's so empowering because people say, how can I have more success? How can I have more success? How can I have more success? That is such an important thing to ask yourself. How can you have more success? Why do you want more success? And if you do, your point of view in anything you do is going to be the thing that directs it. How many times do you say, I can't do this. I can't think like this. I can't do this. Your mind is so full of I can't. And I just remember being in that thing. And what did you tell them? I said, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I promise you, I'm going to get all those people in. She shared with her perspective on life. She rallied them to think outside of the box of the possibility of the pessimism that was put in front of them, which is 8 of you are going to die and 2 of you are going to live. That possibility thinking that stretched beyond that said, that may be your story. That may be your instructions, but it's not my reality. My reality is if I can get everybody to work together, we can all live. We can all get there. And I'm not buying your pessimistic story. I'm not buying the pessimistic story that 8 people are going to die and only 2 of us are going to live. And I have to convince everybody to let me live. I'm going to convince everybody that if we work together, we can all live and all prosper and all thrive. That is opportunistic thinking, and it's different than positive thinking. Positive thinking is like, I like you and it's all good. Optimistic thinking means that you are doing something. You're stepping up as a leader and stepping out, and you're actually being somebody that nobody thought you could be. And in that room with those 10 people in that little boat right there, who gets to live and who gets to die, that was the optimistic thinking she did. She said, I'm in it for everybody. I don't believe the narrative. I don't believe the story. We're going to think outside the box and everybody get there. Let's see. The question is, will the person be willing to open the gate? Yes. It's like the question is, are you willing to put a different spin on that? I never forgot that. I think that's so empowering, and I was very proud of it. The next most powerful part of you at all your life is your point of view. Your point of view that says, I can rise above it or I can't rise above it. And we've been talking about this for weeks. You'll either sink or swim based on that point of view. I don't know what it's going to be like. I'm not sure. It looks really, bleak out here, but I'm going to figure out a way to get this done. Like if a boat is sinking and there's only 2 people allowed in that boat, that, thinking there is, wow, it really looks bleak. This boat is sinking and here's the lifeboat. And I'll tell you what, if you pick me, I'll figure out how to get everybody home. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out along the way. That's optimistic thinking. That's the confidence in the future that you're going to win. And that creates success. That's like the core thing, the point of view you have that you can. Even though it's scary, it's uncertain. I don't feel educated enough, smart enough, great enough. The optimistic view that you can do something, that's what turns success up. Success isn't something you buy, get, or find, or do. It's something you become. And if you can't become success in your mindset, you're not going to become success in your outer world. You'll have points in your life where you'll have good things happen to you. But actual success long-term is that optimistic mindset. That pessimistic mindset will kill you. Let's see. Hey, Scott, nice to see you, my friend. Eyes up reveals multiple paths to success, whereas looking down can only see the next step. That's correct. If you're pessimistic, you can't see the next step. You can only see how everything is bad. And it's not really great. It's a hard thing to look at this because sometimes, you might be a little bit of both. You might be a pessimist and an optimist. And I think pessimism just stirs fear and creates absolute misery. So I like this. Positive equal thinking, optimistic equal doing. That's correct. It's a vast difference right there. It's a big deal. Hey, nice to see you on, MJ. Glad you got popped on with us. Scott, that's powerful. Yes, it is. I think so too. So here's the deal. I wrote some notes for me. I remember and I grew up in a very pessimistic environment, very pessimistic thinkers, etc. And I had to walk myself over to here. And I thought, how did I do that really? And it wasn't that suddenly there was a switch. I suppose there could be. But for me, it was small changes in my thinking. And that created small changes in the ecosystem of me inside. Then those small changes created different imaginations. And then those imaginations created different actions. Then the different actions created the success I wanted. But here's the thing. The most important thing that you can remember, it's like, I'm sorry, I have to move my hair and I used the wrong hand. There we go. The most important thing you can remember when you make these small changes, small daily changes, the awareness of the difference between being optimistic and pessimistic, the awareness that your thoughts will either impair you or empower you, the awareness that optimism is doing and pessimism is talking about it incessantly and nothing happens except a bleak mindset. Optimism is action. It's something that helps you move forward and say what's possible. Once you get those small changes in your mind, your imagination starts like, I'm not good enough, to, well, what if I gave it a try? I mean, I may not be successful, but I'd be successful to a degree. I mean, I'd learn something. I'd get that off the ground. We're at the time of the year where a lot of people are thinking, I think I want to start a business. I want to leave my job. I want to start a business. I want to write that book. It's that New Year time where you start evaluating your life. The first thing you need to evaluate is, what is your point of view in life? Why isn't that book done yet? Why? What do you need to look at or shift in your point of view. Why? What are you imagining right now? Are you imagining, oh my God, the world is changing and it's going to be better, greater, good? Or, oh my God, the world is changing and everything is going to go bad and it's going to be horrible and something's going to take over? So here's the thing. I have seen tons of optimistic people, and I don't mean to be corny, but we're going to be corny for a second. The movie, The Sound of Music. The Sound of Music. Everybody knows the story of The Sound of Music. So I'm just going to go to the part that's important to me. And the part that's important to me is when a husband and wife stood with each other and said, okay, we're going to have to figure out how to get out of Austria. We're going to climb over the mountains. They're never going to think we're going to be able to do it. We're not going to be, we're going to take the children. We're going to climb over the mountains and we're going to get to Switzerland or wherever they were free. That's the point where you have to be somebody nobody expects you to be. So what they didn't do is go, that family can climb over the mountains with all those kids. They probably said in their mind, nah, they're not over there. That's not where they are. They got to be in the car. We're going to look in the convent. We're going to move out of here. We're going to get things done. They're not climbing over the mountain with 7 children or however many children there were. That's becoming the kind of person nobody thought you could be. That's optimism. And that plays in your favor. When you can become somebody that nobody thought you would be and do things that nobody thought you could do, you will have created success unexpectedly. It will shock them. They'll be like, oh, you did that. Oh, it's this. Whether you write a book, whatever that's going to be. And it's interesting because I actually discovered the Be Somebody Nobody Thought You Could Be from Janine. Chi, we had her on the thing and she had a post up there, be somebody nobody thought you could be. And I thought, man, that is the most optimistic thing you could say. Then changing your point of view, you don't understand. Most people don't understand the power they own themselves, the power for them to be anything they want because they can shift their point of view. And that point of view shifts your attention. It shifts your focus. It shifts what you think is possible for you. Pessimists don't think things are possible for them. They don't think having their dreams happen is possible for them. They don't even dare to dream. They just talk about how other things outside of themselves have robbed them of their possibilities. So, well, I might just sit here and die. Or, how something was stolen from them, I remember somebody, when I put out a book, they told me I stole their dream from them. And I was like, what? And they were like, I wanted to write a book and you stole my dream. And think about that. How did that stop you from writing a book? How did I steal your dream? I didn't even write about the same topic you want to write about. I'm in a completely different genre. But that pessimism was, you stole my dream. I can't do my dream anymore because you did it first. And you have to, I've had those things. I've had people come up and who wanted to work with me. I'm not kidding when I say this. And they've said to me, you need to work with me. And why do I need to work with you? Well, because I'm Jesus Christ. I'm the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Well, if you're Jesus Christ, you certainly don't need me. You're Jesus Christ. Well, what do you want from me? There's these things that people will say to try to get you to work with them, or in pessimistic thinking. If you're Jesus Christ and you can't manifest anything, you're not Jesus Christ. So it's that we look at that, our most powerful things that we have to manifest, we're born with. They're in our body, they're in our system, they're in our power. Our point of view, our attention, our optimism, our work ethic, our willingness to be somebody nobody thought we could be, we can move that. We know that small changes in our thinking make small changes that happen in here, which make small changes here, which make small changes here, and small actions here. And over time, those small turn into these quantum leaps where suddenly you're like, boom, and you're over here awake. I'm going to pop over here and say hi to everybody. Let's see. Even the next step without the greater vision beyond may not be the direction, the destination that you'd eventually want to find yourself within. Yes. And if you do, pay attention to what's there, because something is there to teach you or show you or say, okay, I know you want to go right, but you need to go left first. Part of optimism for me, and I want to thank you for this, Scott. This is very important. Part of optimism for me is listening inward. You see, I believe that the universe wants me to succeed. And I believe that the universe sent someone inside to help me, to help me traverse if I listen in. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know which way to go. I'm not sure here. Which way should I go? I can talk to this thing that talks to me, that says, go left or go right or go forward, or wait a minute, don't go yet. Just stay right here until I tell you to move. And I listen to that thing that works with me, that divine guidance, whatever you want to call it. Part of being optimistic for me is knowing that I am connected to the divine and I am supposed to be working with it to unfold the kind of success I want. Now, I also know that everything is not fun, but everything's not bad either. There's some work you're going to do where you're like, oh God, I'm so sick of doing this part of the work. I don't want to do this work. But I picture myself doing it willingly, like it's going to be part of my success, and then I can do it. But if you get to the point where you're walking towards your success, and you get to the point where your greater vision may not be the direction and destination that you'd eventually want to find yourself within, then what happens is you can listen inward. There's a part of you that wants to help you get where you want to get. Sometimes God's plan and your plan, they're the same plan. When you get an idea, who put the idea there? Where did you buy that idea? Where did it come from? It came from that divine place. So it's a gift from the universe. That's what Dr. Joe Vitale told us. Ideas are gifts from the universe. They come to you because they're supposed to be with you, a part of what you unfold. Success has habits, and some of those habits aren't so disciplined. Some of them are joyful, and they're listening in, and they're connected. Let's see. If you look at a person's physiology, when they're generally pessimistic, you can see it's just when an optimist enters into the room, you can really see and feel it. And that's true. It's like if you're pessimistic or you're optimistic, when you step in a room, you're throwing off a vibe. You're throwing off a resonance. You're throwing off a silent sound that everybody can hear, everybody can see, and everybody can watch when you throw that in. Then when you throw in that room where people are really attracted to you and they want to come and hug you and be with you and talk with you and be around you, it's like that is... People love optimism. I have a friend of mine, I tease him all the time, that he's like the angel Michael when he walks into a bar and he starts to dance, and all the women come off the sides because they want to dance with him. I have a friend like that. It's like, bees to honey with him. It's unbelievable. So what happens when you shift your point of view? What's the key thing here? You can see it when an optimist enters the room. I really noticed the physical difference as a practicing therapist. The pessimism created physical issues. Wow, that's something. That pessimism creates physical issues, which then was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, this is the perfect place to go here. No matter what you do, whether it's optimism or pessimism, everyone has a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone. And it is steered by what you think and the point of view you have about success and what you think is possible for you. As what you think is possible for you grows, because you're focusing on that, opportunities and prosperity and thrivability and all of that come to you. This is ground floor basics right here. Everyone has a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that self-fulfilling prophecy that you have is based in strength by what you're saying to yourself, by what your point of view is, by what you think other people are saying about you, by being, it's like when you come into yourself, even if you come into yourself and you listen and you do what's in here, you are interacting with your self-fulfilling prophecy. This right here, even the next steps without the greater vision beyond may not be the direction and destination that you'd eventually want to find yourself within. This is it. Which, like, what is your self-fulfilling prophecy? Well, guess what? Your self-fulfilling prophecy can change. What do you think is possible for you? What do you think is possible if you get to the point where you take action and you learn to do something you've never done before? Your self-fulfilling prophecy shifts a bit. It's so important for you to understand how you operate. If you understand how you operate, you will find success is the natural outcome of your optimistic processes. Optimistic processes, how you think, what your point of view is in the world is and I want to tell you something. There's a difference between optimistic and a positivity. Positivity can see the sunny side of the street, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll take any action. It's just that it'll see the glass half full and not half empty. Optimism is that part where everybody says, wow, that glass, you would like it refilled? Great. I'll figure out how to refill it for you. I'll go take the glass and put it up to the water faucet and fill it up and bring it back. That's optimism, because it's what you think is possible for you. And no matter where you are in your life, if you are on a sinking ship and the boat is cracked in half like the Titanic and it is sinking, and there are only so many lifeboats, don't ever look at it and say, I have to convince you as to why I should live. That's crap. And don't you think you should convince you as to why you have to live. You have to not believe the narrative and create your narrative with the divine. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it right now, but everybody's getting in this boat. Everybody's going to get to shore. If you pick me, I will get us in the boat and to the shore. I do not believe the narrative that 2 people are going to live and 8 people are going to die. What can we do now that can make that happen? That's optimism. It's one of the most powerful things that you have in your entire being to make a difference in your world, to have more success in your world, to have things empowered in your way. And I want to thank everybody who has made it possible for me to make those shifts from the pessimistic life that I started to grow up in to where I am right now. I'd like to thank every partner, every teacher, every mentor, every therapist, everything that I've touched, every concert, every conference I went to. I like concerts too. Every song that made me think differently, every book that I've ever read, everything. You have to be an unstoppable doer. You have to invest in you because you are your best investment for the future. If you want more success, this to me is the first step into transforming into the success and possibilities that you dream of having. This has been the Coffee Break Show. I want to let you know I love you all. Thank you for everybody for being here. Tomorrow, I have Shell Horowitz on, and we're going to be talking about conscious business and how your business can change the world. And you know how much I love that conversation. We're going to go deep into it. We're going to talk about the future. We're going to talk about all things that are possible. All right, you guys, peace out. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Really, go